Now I know my ATCs, won't you come and play with me? Hey everyone, Cece here. Welcome to another One Take Friday. Sorry about the goofy intro. I couldn't help myself. It was just too easy. So this week we are continuing our ATC's mini-series. And before I go ahead and do this week's, I just wanted to share with you a great idea that Natalie came up with. If you remember correctly, last week I did this 4-part image. It's one image divided into 4 ATC size cards. She thought it would be a great idea to trade. You know, you get together a group of 4 and every time you meet, everybody would do one full image divided into 4 like this and then trade amongst each other, so that way each girl would get a piece of a puzzle. I thought that was a brilliant idea, so I just wanted to pass that along to you. This week we are working with real wood ATCs. I'm not making this up. This is what it says here. Real wood ATCs, and they are by Creative Imagination, so we're gonna have fun with that and a few other supplies, and I'll just show them to you right now. You'll need a bucket of water with a medium-sized brush, Glossy Accents by Ranger, Claudine Helmet Studio Matte Multimedia. We'll be using silks again. I have here fern, key lime, and pink grapefruit. You'll need a fine tip brush, and I'm using the one by Ranger here, and you won't need the water in the barrel this time. ATC's Embellishments by Creative Imaginations, and this one is the Life as Art. 4 pieces of the Real Wood ATCs by Creative Imaginations, a fine tip pair of scissors, walnut stain distress ink, as well as an ink applicator tool with the foam, pink rhinestones from Ziva Creative, a black gel pen from Uniball Signo, and we'll also be working with pattern paper this week, and I have here paper called Little Miss Brenna by Bo Bunny, and it's from the Little Miss collection. Let's get started. To start, I'm going to apply my silks to the wood, and I'm going to start with the lightest color, and I advise you to shake your silks well, mix them up real well. And the fun part of this is that because the silks are glaze and not paints, we're able to see the wood grain through the glaze, which is, let me just finish one and I'll show you after. Okay, so I'm done with the key lime, and now I'm going to move on to the fern. Don't they look nice? Oh, I love it. I'm going to let them dry and I'll be right back. My apologies, I forgot about the paper trimmer. You're probably going to need that. I want to isolate the 4 corners here, so I'm just going to get rid of that strip here because I want to use that corner up here. So I'm just going to cut this at 2.5, which is the size of my ATC card. Just so that top portion, and at 3.5. So I'm going to cut this at 3.5. Where's my 2.5? Right here. So I got 1. So I'm going to cut that saying that says, live your dream. The idea behind the whole tray that I showed you last week and at the beginning of the video is to be kind of like an inspirational piece. Okay, so I've got one here which will probably go here at the bottom. So I'm bringing in another sheet that I have of this collection, and I'm going to cut through these spontaneous, but you can use a stamp set if you have at home, or you can even write your own saying. You don't have to cut this out of a big sheet if that bothers you. And now what I want to do is I want to bring back, oh, look how pretty they are. They still shine. Wood is a very, very porous surface. The mica flecks are still showing through the wood. You see that? Ah, love it. So I'm just going to tear it with my fingers. I'm not going to be very precise. And this thing's just a little bit bigger, so I think I'm going to chop that one off and do it in 3 sections, but I'll wait until the end. We pretty much have our 4 designs. From this package, Life as Art, the ATC's Embellishments by Creative Imaginations, I've got these 3. I have a little butterfly, a paint palette, and a violin with birds. And out of this, they have frames as well, which is quite interesting with different designs. So you can use the frame because it totally pulls out. But I'm going to use that inkwell. Is that what they're called? Yeah, inkwell. So what I want to do is, oh, I forgot to, you need some foam adhesive. We're going to do some painting with a glaze on these things. I want to share another tip with you. Instead of shaking my bottles, I usually use an old knitting needle, or you can use the other end of your brush to mix my paints. I find this is a much cleaner way of doing things. That way my lid doesn't get all gunky. And I'll just take my fine tip brush and I'll just use whatever's on my needle. I just want to color in the rose and a few elements on my design just to give it a little bit more oomph, you know? So I'm going to color in the birds with pink, and like I said, I don't want too much on my brush. See how pretty that is? Here we go. So I've pretty much composed my ATCs. As you can see, my pieces are not glued down. Before I go ahead and do that, I will use the walnut stain and the ink applicator tool, and I will distress all the components. So as you can see, I've also distressed the actual wood ATC. So now that I've got all the pieces inked up, I will glue everything down with the matte multi-medium, and I will use the same brush. I just want to make sure that the bristles are nicely washed, and glue each piece one by one. Well, I'm upset. I just wanted to show you something. After I've applied the matte multi-medium, of course, I didn't think of that, but it took away the shine from the silks, and I don't want that. As you can see here, this is dull. I don't know if you, yeah, right here it's dull, and here it's beautiful and shiny. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the oyster silk and I'll apply a coat all over before I glue down my final embellishment. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's actually quite pretty. It gives it a nice pearly sheen to the whole thing. Of course, I don't want to put too much so that it takes away from the actual colors in underneath, but I just want to put enough so that we have that beautiful shimmer from the micas. This is what it looked like. I like it. I'm going to add my oyster to all of these ATCs. So let me just finish that and I'll come right back. Well, you know what? I like it. Oh, look at that. Yee-haw! So now we've got the full effect of the micas. While this is drying, actually, I'm going to put crystal effects on my embellishments. I don't want to have a big glob of glossy accents. I just want to have enough so that they pop. So let me finish this and I'll show you what it looks like. While my things are drying, I just wanted to show you this little tool by Ranger. Whoops, upside down. It's just basically a little scraper, and it really does pick up everything that has dried on your mat. As you can see here, I'm moving stuff around. Can you see that? So it makes for cleanup very easy. It picks up paint, it picks up even ink. I'm really surprised at how much it picks up. You can see the residue right here. Just a little trick that I wanted to share with you. Because we added the oyster silks, the quotes have kind of taken a back step, and I really want them to be prominent. So just kind of to match these ones here, which are really dark. So I'm going to go over them with a black Uniball Signal pen. It's a gel pen. And I'm just going to trace the letters. I'm going to use what's underneath. I'm going to give you a close-up here. I'm going to use what's underneath to do my letters. So it just makes it easier. That way you don't have to do your own lettering. You just follow along to what's underneath. Of course, if I hadn't put the matte medium over my glued pieces, I would have avoided that, but I don't know, I kind of like it with that beautiful sheen all around. So that's much better. So I'm going to do the whole thing. I added my embellishments over the ATCs just to see the placement. They're not glued down yet. I'm going to add the rhinestones right here. I want to glue my embellishments. And put 2 squares right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue that. Like this. There's our ATCs for this week. I like them. I love the shine that they have. And see what it looks like. Oh, I really like the feel of the wood. It's fun. So we've got, see, it's starting to take shape. We have the same color scheme, but they're sort of different. So you can actually play. You can have one here, and you know, you can just like switch them around and they would still look great. We're done. We did it. All right, I'm going to show them to you one by one. You can see that? So there's one. There's our second one. This one says, never regret. I love how they shine. I really like the wooden ATCs. This one is be true to who you are. I hope you can see the shine on these things. It's amazing. And the last one is live your dream, which is so important. All right, so, and to recap, I don't know if they're gonna stand on their own. There's our tray, looking good. You can play around with them. So that's it for this week, as usual. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will see you next week with 4 more ATCs. Bye! Ooh. Episode. Oh, I forgot something. No, that's all I got.